Hi, it's Panda Movies here. Today, I'm going to explain the movie called The Space Between Us. Warning, there are spoilers ahead. Enjoy the video. The story is set in a future with profound commitment for space explorations. It starts with a multi-billionaire CEO of Genesis, Nathaniel Shepard, launching his team's mission to colonize Mars. The team, headed by astronaut Sarah Elliot, successfully makes their way to Mars, but along their journey, she discovers that she is pregnant. She gives birth to a baby boy, Gardner, after landing on Mars, but dies from eclampsia shortly after. With no knowledge of who his father might be, Nathaniel keeps Gardner on Mars as a secret. Nathaniel fears that the public might react negatively with the news and that returning to Earth could potentially be dangerous to Gardner's health. Gardner is raised by one of his mother's closest friends, astronaut Kendra Wyndham, along with other scientists that are a part of the mission. Fast forward to 16 years later, raised by scientists, engineers, and astronauts, Gardner hacks into a robot that he helped build to gain access to his mother's personal belongings. He finds a wedding ring and a video of Sarah and a man in a beach house. Gardner is convinced that the man is his father and he is determined to find him. In an internet chat room, Gardner talks to Tulsa, a street-smart girl from Colorado living in the foster care system. She believes Gardner is confined to a penthouse due to osteogenesis imperfecta. They discuss their plans for the future, and Gardner promises to visit her someday. Knowing how much Gardner yearns to go to Earth, Kendra calls Nathaniel and the Genesis director, Tom Chen, to allow Gardner to return with them. Unfortunately, Nathaniel refuses since Gardner would need to have a risky surgery to increase his bone density and train to adapt to their planet's atmospheric pressure. Gardner undergoes the surgery and training against Nathaniel's wishes and boards a shuttle for Earth with Kendra and several other astronauts. The team finally arrive on Earth, and Nathaniel is infuriated at Tom, who kept Gardner's training a secret. After they land, Gardner is immediately placed under quarantine at NASA while going through medical tests to determine his fitness for life on Earth. The results of the tests show that Gardner is not fit to live on Earth, so they confine him even longer, prompting him to escape. The first person to think of asking help from is his only friend, Tulsa, and convinces her to help him find his father. They are followed by Nathaniel and Kendra, who try to convince Gardner to return to NASA, but he runs away with Tulsa and learns the location of the man who married Gardner's parents, Shaman Nika. Nathaniel and Kendra double their efforts in finding Gardner upon learning that his body contains dangerously high levels of troponin, indicative of an enlarged heart, which cannot withstand the atmospheric pressure of Earth. They have to send Gardner back to Mars so that he may survive. In their journey to finding his father, Gardner confesses to Tulsa his true origins and the reason why Nathaniel and Kendra were after them, but she does not believe him. The duo was eventually able to find Nika, who agrees to help them and lets Tulsa use his computer to locate the beach house from Gardner's video. They discover that the beach house is located in California, so they travel to Summerland, California, stopping in Las Vegas for fun, where Gardner collapses and is taken to a hospital. He undergoes more tests in the hospital where the results of his X-ray show carbon tubes in Gardner's bones, and Tulsa finally believes Gardner's claims of being born on Mars. Gardner knows he cannot survive on Earth, but wants to meet his father before he dies. Tulsa helps him to sneak out of the hospital, and they drive to the beach house where they meet the man from Gardner's video, who happens to be Sarah's brother, his uncle, and not his father. Gardner thinks this is a lie and runs to the sea, telling Tulsa that this is where he wants to die before finally collapsing. Fortunately, Nathaniel and Kendra arrive just in time to pull Gardner out of the ocean. Gardner, starting to gain his consciousness, asks Nathaniel about Sarah and realizes that Nathaniel is his father. Nathaniel, Kendra, and Tulsa rush Gardner to a dream chaser and launch into orbit, hoping this will stabilize Gardner. Finally free of Earth's gravity, Gardner is revived. With no more alternatives to make him fit for a life on Earth, Gardner agrees to be sent back to Mars. He boards a space shuttle after sharing an emotional parting with Tulsa. Kendra, who is retiring from active flight status with NASA, adopts Tulsa. Determined to join Gardner on Mars, Tulsa joins Kendra's training program. The movie ends with Gardner being seen back on Mars with Nathaniel. What is interesting in this movie is that despite looking exactly like us, with Earthling parents just like us, Gardner is technically an alien, born and raised on another planet. It's interesting to see our planet from the perspective of someone who has yearned to come here all his life. It successfully showed that if we take a moment to look around, we will appreciate every single detail about our planetary existence and the connections that we have with everybody else.